Today's video has me so fired up because we get it so wrong when it comes to the game of real estate. And you know what? Today, I want to clear the playing field and I want to create clarity on money. What is it? What isn't it? We're going to tackle the top 10 myths on money. Money is a strange deal. It's amazing how so many of us arrive at so many different conclusions about what is money. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it righteous? Is it evil? Is it going to help me get where I want to go? Is it neutral? Is it a tool? We're infusing different energy. We're assigning different meanings and definitions to what it is. And today what I want to do is I want to clear the air a little bit by talking about the top 10 myths about money. Are you ready? Because here comes number one. Number one, it takes money to make money. I'm just gonna ask, is that true? My personal experience is that it actually doesn't take money to make money. At least not mine. A lot of the things that we do in life will take money, but we automatically assume that means me and my money. You know, there's a lot of dreams out there. Something, you may have heard of it. It's called Facebook. And it needed some original money, and they brought in an investor that helped launch this thing that turned into the #1 communication platform for the world today. That was someone else's money that funded that. And you know, there's a lot of companies that you and I respect and do business with that started with a genius idea, partnering up with someone else's money to make magic happen. This idea that it takes money to make money, if it is true or when it is true, it most certainly does not mean that it has to be your money. It just needs to be money from somewhere, some way, which is great news because it means if you need a lot of money for an idea, it means that you don't have to put your head down, keep working your job, get that apron tied on real tight and keep working until you've saved it up. You just got to know how to present it to the right person that believes in your idea, and boom, you are off to the races. Myth number 2. Your home is your best investment. It is really true, actually, that for many people, if you're following society's game plan, 401ks, IRAs, paying off your house, that your house in the long run will end up being one of your best investments. Today, for this myth, however, we're not talking about your home being your best investment. We're talking about homes being your best investment, which means if one home makes sense and actually does so much good for the average American, then what about 10? 10 homes done the right way can mean 10 times the good. So that's myth number 2. Myth number 3. I do not earn enough money to save. Or it could also be said, I'm check to check. Or I make so little, or I'm so young, does it even matter to save when I'm only putting pennies aside? I'm gonna tell you this is absolutely a myth. The most important financial decision you will, bar none, ever make in your entire life is how much money you will set aside and save from every check you receive. At some point, you've got to stop working for money and money's got to start working for you, which means that you got to pay yourself. And a lot of people don't do this. The first thing you do is you pay your mortgage, or you pay your car bill, or you pay your lighting and utilities, or you're paying for your phone. The most important person for you to pay is the person doing the work, and that person is you. And you take that money, and right now I want you to think, what is an amount that I can set aside? So I challenge you to set 10% of your income aside. If you're check to check, set 10% of your income aside and put it in a place where you cannot touch it and allow it to accumulate. 1, for savings and a rainy day fund, an emergency fund. And then number 2, because a time will come when you'll need a little bit to start investing with and you'll get somewhere. The only way you ever break the cycle of check to check is not by making more money. It is developing the discipline of saving. Myth number 4, my partner manages our money. Listen, some of you watching this might be married. I'm married. I got my wife who knows all the bank account accesses. She moves the money around. She's paying things. And the myth with this one is that life happens. And when life happens, if you don't know what's up and you don't know what's down, money, to treat it with respect and responsibility, means that you have an understanding of how it is flowing and how it's managed. Now, I get it. Some of you just don't like looking at the numbers, but this is one of those skills that you get to have if financially you ever expect to go anywhere with your life. Myth number 5, cash is king. I'm gonna tell you right now that a lot of people think I got cash in the bank and that makes me the king. I'm gonna tell you right now that there's something more powerful than cash is king, a residual income and a balanced financial approach. Having a pile of money sitting somewhere not earning anything for you, that's not power. Having your money properly invested where it's producing a residual income for you, that's power, and that has the ability to get where you wanna go. So is cash king? I would say some cash and having the right investments makes the king. Myth number 6, my savings account is the best place for an emergency fund. Understand that right now, every bank has an FDIC insurance limit, which means that beyond a certain amount of money, your money is actually not safe. But worse, your emergency fund in your bank account is growing at like 0.0 nothing percent. You're actually not making any money, and yet inflation is eroding it at 3 to 4%. So you're losing money in your emergency fund. An emergency fund, it is a myth, does not need to go into the savings account. Instead, where does that go? Friends, you could put it into a whole life early cash out insurance policy, making you 6 or 7% a year on your money, where you have the access, the ability. It's a little harder to get to because that's the whole point of an emergency fund. It's automatically put in there every month. I've got a big one of these set up, and I just pile drive it right into there. And you know what that does for me? It's growing at 7%, 6%, as opposed to sitting in the bank account. So no, a savings account is not necessarily the best place for your emergency fund. Myth number 7 about money is that come the end of the world, gold is the best financial resource and asset to have. I want to ask you a question. Do you really think in really bad times that gold is where it's at? What value are you really trying to maintain? Because I'll tell you what, you're going to be caring about food and shelter and warmth. And can you eat your gold? Will it provide warmth for you? Not unless you're Scrooge McDuck that can dive under all them bills and actually keep yourself warm. The reality is in times like that, gold is a certain type of resource. Do you know what's a better resource than that? Water, food, clothing, shelter, a plan. So a lot of people put their money in gold thinking that it's a worst case scenario. The reality is that gold is very volatile. It's moving up and down. You got very little control over it. And that's the myth on gold. Myth number 8. If I keep a small balance on my credit cards, my credit score is going to go up. False. Your credit score can go up, but you want to know what's going to bring up your credit score even higher? Pay off that credit card. It's financially proven to have your credit go up and increase if you show the banks that you have the ability to leverage it and then pay it off. So friends, you don't need to use that credit card to maintain a small balance. What they say is you shouldn't get your balance over 30%, but at the end of the month, pay it off and watch your credit rise. Myth number 9. Credit cards are bad and evil, and you should never use them. Friends, credit like money is a tool. You can use it to create bad debt, and you can use it to create good debt. The question is, what are you using it for, and how are you leveraging it? So should you cut up your credit cards? No. But you know that if you know yourself best. If you have some discipline problems, then be sure to create some rules for yourself so that you don't get yourself in hot water. And myth number 10, perhaps one of the biggest, baddest, and worst of all, is that all debt is bad. Friends, consumer debt is bad because it costs you money. It's a negative debt. But don't forget there's a positive debt, a good debt. And this is something that the wealthy know. The wealthy know how to leverage their resources to purchase debts that end up producing income far and beyond whatever it takes to pay down that debt. And so at the end of the day, there are many and the wealthy that are actually screaming to get into as much positive debt as they possibly can. That myth has also been busted. Oh man, it feels so much better to get that off my chest. You feeling good too? I'm feeling good. You feeling good? Listen, thank you for watching today's video. Subscribe, ring the bell, and I will notify you every day of some of the new content we've got coming out teaching you about money, wealth, and real estate.